You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Ugh. Call yourself cutlery? You're not a utensil, you're a useless tensile. Oh, I'm sorry, listeners. I didn't know you were there. I meant to say hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that's suitable for people of all ages from to and everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and look, I'm not sure what's gone wrong here, but I'm just trying to eat this lovely bowl of cold custard, and yet every time I try and scoop any of it up, it falls off before I can eat it. I am certain the spoon I'm using is faulty, and I don't really know how a spoon can be wrong, but this one definitely is a wrong spoon. Linda, how can a spoon be wrong, Linda? Well, of course, Linda doesn't have any answers, but you know where might have answers? Yeah, that's right. My favourite influencer on Hey YouTube. Let me just log in. Ah, here we go. Play.
Boo!
Oh no, sorry, that was BooTube. Wrong site. Let me just try again. No, not GooTube. Okay, I've got to calm down. Even if the spoon I'm using is faulty, I still have to try and type a bit more calmly so I can find the site I actually want. Ah, here we go. Hey YouTube. Right, what does Susan Police say? She is my favourite influencer, and you know what? She always says exactly the right things.
Oi, you got some broken spoon? Well, Susan Police, will show you how to fix it, alright? So stop mucking about and listen. Stop it! Or I'll have to have you arrested because I'm Susan Police.
Wow, she is so good.
Right, so is your spoon not picking up jelly or soup or small hamsters?
Cold custard, actually.
I didn't ask you, snot-brains. Yeah, all that cold custard. Have you tried yelling at the spoon? That's the first thing to do. Just say, "Oi, spoon, what's your blooming problem? I'll have you arrested if you don't sort it out."
Pause. Right, okay, I'll try that. Oi, spoon, what's your blooming problem? I'll have you arrested if you don't sort it out. Right, now to try eating some custard. No. Rubbish. Any more tips, Susan?
Well, if that doesn't do workings, then your spoon has an easels to fix glitch. Just get one of these digital spoon operators and see if that works. You have to stand about 12 feet away and then hit the reset button and count to 12,763 and then press red, green, 89, caterpillar, big bag of what's-its, and then stop and your spoon should reset.
Pause. Oh, that is a lot to do, isn't it? I'll just order a digital spoon operator then, I guess. That's probably the only way to fix this. Yes, so I need digital spoon operator for a medium metal spoon with a little picture of a stinky hippo at the bottom, please. Great! While I wait for that to arrive, don't forget if you have any questions that you need to have answered, or you want to send in anything else at all, then please get your grotty windbags, grown-ups permission, to email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. I am basically like your Susan Police, and I will help you with any problems. You can also message on the Spotify Q&A for each episode, but don't put any personal details on there because obviously otherwise the Podgoblin will find where you live and make you pay a really expensive fee of 12 old fish per day, and that is a lot. And you can give the show a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else podcasts live too. Also, if your grown-ups fancy helping support this show existing, they can sign you up to the advert-free Linda edition for a small monthly fee at Apple Podcasts, Acast Plus, or patreon.com/Comedy Club for Kids. And just to let you know, not next week, but the week after, I am going to be away for 2 weeks on my hollywops, my holidays, my holidaps, my holidays. So there won't be any proper episodes until the first week of September, but there might be something, who knows? And also, you can always go back and listen to the 7,000,004 old episodes that are already there. So hopefully you won't be too stuck for radio nonsense during that time. And if you're at the Edinburgh Fringe this year, I am not there, but Comedy Club for Kids is there every single day at 4:25 in the afternoon at the Assembly George Square Gardens. And there are absolutely brilliant comedians that are going to be on at that show every single day. So do go and check it out. Ah, great. It's already arrived. Okay, let me try this. Digital spoon operator. Right, I have to stand 12 feet away from the spoon and... Okay, resets, and then I have to count to 12,763, which could take a while. So, as I do that, you listen to this most importantest bit. I can't believe it, but here on Radio Nonsense, I am joined by Lorna-Rose Treen, aka Lorna-Rose, who everyone knows for her musical toes, aka LR Trees, who's never done even one sneeze, or as all of our listeners from the bubble wrap community know you. But, of course, Lorna-Rose, you are well known for your efforts to recycle old snorkels by using them as a new way to drink custard, for your invention of World Day, where everyone gets together to have 24 hours in a row for a whole day, and most famously for the time you got global acclaim for solving exactly who did steal the cookie from the cookie jar. Lorna-Rose, it's such a joy to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me and my musical toes. We've been singing all morning. They've actually just shut up, so you're lucky with that.
Wow, is it? I mean, because they're constantly musical, as I understand. Is that to me? That sounds lovely, but I guess there must be times when you think, please stop.
Honestly, it's like living with a brass band, but the brass band has drunk a lot of Coke, and I'm not talking about Coke Zero. I'm talking about full fat Coke, and they just stay up all night. And that's what it's like on my feet consistently. At first, it was really nice. It was like, my life's a movie. But then I'd say about a week into being alive, it got annoying.
Wow! So even as a little baby, you were thinking this is too much. These toes need to stop.
Yeah, I was quite an introverted baby. I thought, I really recognised the need for peace and quiet at an early age.
Wow, that's very impressive. I mean, how does it work? Can you wear very sort of thick socks? Does that kind of shut them up, or do you have to wear sort of individual little, I don't know what they're called, like toe gloves, or how are there ways like how you can muffle a trumpet or a tuba by putting a sock in it?
Yeah. The problem is if I muffle them with thick socks, then my toes get really hot and they start playing like summer music. They start playing a bit of like reggae, some like relaxed kind of heat some, which is lovely, but it's the same volume. It's just at a slower tempo. Right.
That's awkward, especially because I'd have thought in the winter you need to wear thick socks, but then they start playing summer music, and that's not right for any occasion.
No, they need to sort it out. They need to sort it out. And then in the winter, when I'm putting, if I take my socks off at any point, they're always playing Christmas carols. And a muffled Christmas carol is not a good sound.
No, and especially in the parts of winter when you're like, we don't want Christmas carols yet. We give it like when do they start? Are we talking like way too early, September, October?
Yeah, last year they started August 29th.
Oh, that is outrageous.
Yeah,
that is outrageous.
It crossed a line. Honestly, I keep having words with them, but they're so far away because I'm so tall. I'm like 7 foot. Also, whenever I have to have words with them, I have to do a proper bend.
Right. I see. So you're 7 foot tall with musical toes, but that must be quite good because you're also, your head is quite far away from your toes.
Yeah,
it's a bit like a sort of how a giraffe. Like if a giraffe had musical toes, you'd think it wouldn't be that bothered.
They wouldn't mind so much. I mean, I guess, yeah. I suppose sound sort of travels upwards, doesn't it? So
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know how like heat rises. Well, sound does as well.
Yeah.
So things get louder as they go up. That's why planes are so loud.
Right. Is that why planes are so? Is it because they've got plane noise and then all the noise from the ground as well?
Yeah,
sort of rising up. Yeah. So space must be unbearable. Yeah.
Space is so loud. They get it wrong in the films. And that's why spacecrafts are so loud and rockets, because they're up so high. And in space, like I don't know if you ever YouTube like the noise of the planets, but they're effectively just screaming. They're so high
Wow,
up.
wow. And I suppose it's that difficult thing to answer, and I don't know. Obviously, you're more of an expert in this than me. Are the planets screaming because of all the noise from everywhere else, or are they also screaming and making noise that we can hear because we're far away from? You know, I suppose it's like the chicken and the egg. What?
What
Yeah,
came first?
yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because I don't think an egg. I think an egg is probably the most quiet thing because it's so low to the ground because it falls out of a
Mm,
chicken,
yeah,
right?
that's true. That's true.
Just interesting.
Yeah, no, it is, isn't it? It is, and then chicks burst out and make a lot of noise. Do you think no? Just stay in there, be quiet.
Yeah, stay low, stay
Yeah,
quiet.
yeah. Have you thought about putting your toes in eggs? Would that work? It wouldn't be very comfortable.
Yeah, I did it, but I chose the wrong opportunity to do it. I did it at it was like an Easter meal with my family.
Oh no, right, right.
Oh,
That's a really
three Easters ago. It absolutely ruined it. It really ruined it
yeah.
for my family.
That's a shame. That's a shame because you think also you had your toes chosen the right sort of music. Like so I don't know what sort of
Yeah.
music is right at Easter. Maybe hymns or something. You know, but it could have really gone down well.
Yeah. But you know, I don't regret it. You don't regret the opportunities you take. You just regret the opportunities you don't take.
That's right. That's right. That's very wise words. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's nice as well. Just in case I don't know if any of our listeners out there do have musical toes, but hopefully that they can. It's probably good for them to hear from someone who does, and if they do, it's just, there's not that many people in the world with that issue. And
No,
it's
and
yeah.
growing up, I also didn't really hear about many people with musical toes. So it's a big effort on my behalf to speak about this because you know, especially the little ones, because the little ones play the trombone on both
Right.
sides,
Yeah.
which I think is quite underrepresented in the toe community. Normally, it's big
Mm.
toes that play the trombone, but I've been blessed with two. I say blessed when I look at them with appreciation. I think I'm blessed.
Well, I mean, it's that thing of it. I suppose you're discussing with eggs being quite quiet, but there are a lot of. You might not know this sort of being 7 foot at all, but there are a lot of smaller things in the world that are very loud, and it's almost. I sometimes think it's almost like because they're big things condensed. Like so if you got a big thing and you squished it, it
Yeah.
almost like all the noise of that big thing comes out of a smaller face
Yes, it
or
should be bigger.
bum, and yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I was going to say
Small.
little yappy dogs are really loud.
Yeah, that's because they should be bigger.
Mm,
And
yeah.
they are bigger, but they're in small. But they've made a mistake there. They should be bigger.
Yes.
It's the same with. I mean, I've not met many yappy dogs because they're just simply too far away. But
Yeah.
a
Of
lot of
course.
middle class women hold yappy dogs in their arms, and that's sort of,
Yes.
that's probably up to my waist with how tall I am. So I've seen them off the floor, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that they're yappy and loud. But lots of little
Yeah.
things are noisy, aren't they? They should be bigger, like toy cars. They should be real
Yeah.
cars, like
Yes.
big
Oh, they should be.
cars.
Yeah. They should be. Flies are really loud, but they're really small. And you think, I guess, I mean, I find it quite scary if flies were huge,
Yeah,
but
that
it
would be
would sort of make sense.
terrifying.
It would be
Well,
really terrifying. Yeah.
flies go up, don't they? So I suppose that they're off the floor, so that's probably why they're loud.
Oh. Yes. I hadn't thought about that at all. If they weren't flying, if they were walks instead of flies, then they would probably be a lot quieter.
Yeah. What's really quiet? Worms. What do they do? Crawls.
Wow, they do crawls. You're right. Yeah, that's right. And same with moles. Moles are down in the ground, very quiet.
Very quiet.
Um,
Spies. Spies are often in
spies.
tunnels, aren't they?
That's right. Spies. Dinosaur bones. You don't hear them making much noise.
So true.
Yes. Yes. That's very, very. What I mean, yeah. It's funny, isn't it? You're really making me think about sound in a whole different way actually, and just about the times I've had to climb up a ladder to I don't know, shout at a bird or I don't know, sort of try and catch a lightning or something fun, but when I get up there I'm like, why is it so loud? And this really sort of all makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, because you're up.
Yeah.
Lightning's another one, isn't it? Lightning is so well. It comes with thunder. I think it's the same thing.
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I've never worked out if they're like a double act, if they work together, like Lightning and Thunder, best of friends, or if they're the same thing. You know, yeah, that's hard because you never have a time where, say, there's just Thunder or just Lightning, and you think, oh, maybe their friend is sick and is having a
Yeah,
day off.
it's always a duo. They come together. It's
Yeah.
a bit like Laurel and Hardy. I think Thunder and Lightning used to be on the TV quite a lot, but
Yes.
maybe they've retired now.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like our listeners probably won't know that, like they didn't want to do the YouTube thing. They didn't want to start a YouTube channel. And so it hasn't really panned out. It's a shame.
Yeah,
It's a
they need
shame.
to innovate. Lightning and Thunder need to do a podcast, really, don't they?
Yes, that's exactly it. They need a TikToks and a podcast would be the way forward. And it's a shame, but some people just don't want to change. I guess Thunder's been making the same noises forever. There's no interest in kind of remixing or
Yeah,
updating the sounds.
and it's
Um,
authentic. It is authentic, isn't it?
it is authentic, but on the other hand, you got lightning never strikes twice in this. Is it never strikes the same place twice, or doesn't strike? It must strike more than twice because it's happened a lot. I don't know what
Yeah,
the
I think
phrase is.
it definitely does. I've seen lightning, I think, maybe 3 times. So maybe it's lightning doesn't strike more than 3 times.
Oh, maybe that's it. If you've only seen it three, it's probably not happened since.
How many times have you seen it?
Well, I thought I'd seen it more than three, but maybe I got confused and it wasn't lightning. It was like somebody using a torch or the room
Yeah.
getting all a bit feisty or something. Maybe it was something else. A
If
really
you were you,
dazzling bird. I don't know.
yeah, like a fiery bird. Was
Fiery
it
bird.
dark
Yeah.
when you saw it?
Yeah, definitely dark. Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
dark.
it's probably a torch then, isn't it?
But it might well be a torch, like you say. It might well be a bird that was on fire, falling down very fast. It could be. Yeah, you're right. Could have been a meteorite. Yeah, there's lots of. Yeah, now that you've said it,
Yeah.
I'm really starting to doubt myself, and it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, isn't it? You can't even believe
I'm
your
not
own eyes.
I'm not even sure I've heard thunder, but I have just assumed whenever I hear like a growl, even if it's from a dog, I assume it's thunder, but I
Hmm.
guess I shouldn't be assuming that.
Well, but you could also be right. It could be that dogs aren't. But dogs, bears, they aren't growling. They've got a bad reputation. It's just thunder keeps turning up, saying, "Well, if my
Yeah.
friend Lightning isn't going to appear, isn't going to do a fourth show,
He's
I've
trying to go off
got
on
to
his
do something else."
own.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I wish him luck.
Yeah, me too. It's well, yeah. It's going to be hard, isn't it? It's going to be very hard. Yeah, there's a lot expected of you. Um,
Yeah.
listen, Lorna-Rose, I'm so pleased that you could join us on Radio Nonsense today. I really appreciate you. Already, this podcast is full of wisdom for our listeners, and I couldn't think of anything more edumatainable, entertainment. When it's like both entertaining and smart. There's a word, isn't there?
Edible, I think.
Edible. That's it. Yes, I couldn't think of a
Yeah.
more edible podcast. I'm worried that if people eat this, then there won't be any more. But hey, if Thunder can get away, Lightning can get away with only 3 shows, and everyone knows what it is. I guess it's not a bad
Yeah.
thing.
We can be
Yeah.
pooped out and then feed back into the ecosystem, I think.
That's nice. That's nice. We could be the world's first podcast ever eaten, pooped out, and then back in the world. I'm not sure people would want to listen to that.
A poopcast.
A poopcast, yes. A poodcast, yeah, that's right. That's yeah. Well, we would be a poodcast. We'd have been pooed out, so we would be a poodcast. That is Wow. Well, listen, I was just gonna say, I thank you for your expertise already, but I have got a question that has been sent in, sort of a question this week, and I know that you are the person that I think can answer it, or at least talk about it the best. But I did wonder how you feel. We've got a couple of rules on this show, and I do have to ask you a couple of admin questions before we get to that point. How do you feel about admin?
I love admin.
Wow.
I love it. I love paperwork. I love emails. I love pens. I love different coloured pens. I love that thing that I've always had in my pencil case that I don't know what it does. A protractor.
Oh
I've got.
yeah.
Is that a thing? And the other thing
Yeah.
that's like a ruler, but it's a semicircle.
Oh, what are they called now? Are they called like a semicircle? Like, did people just give up on that one and went, what is it? Semicircle. Let's call it a
Semicircle.
semicircle.
It
Yeah,
measures angles. I've had those two. I love those two. I
yeah,
take pride in
yeah.
having both of that and a protractor.
Do you measure a lot of angles?
Yeah, I've been known to, but only on a night out.
Yeah. Sure, sure. Just go out, measure some angles. It's good,
Yeah,
especially if you're going somewhere where people are dancing. You can measure the angles of their dance moves.
yeah. The heel to floor ratio
Yeah.
is pretty good. And by ratio, I mean
Yes.
angle. I
Yeah, of
like the angles
course.
at which people's necks go when they dance,
That's
up
very
and
good.
down.
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole. I mean, there's a whole skill in really being able to get like a good 90-degree angle with your sort of finger in the air point, or
That's Strictly Come
yeah.
Dancing stuff.
That is really professional league. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I have no idea. I've never known what a protractor is for, and I don't think anyone does. And I think
Uh,
it is almost just there as it's something reassuring about the world, isn't it? You just have a protractor
yeah,
because you know it's there for comfort, but you will never use it except to
yeah,
make small holes in a can of drink or or in a friend's work.
exactly. Ask no questions, and
Yes.
it will tell you no lies. It will just stay with you.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. It's a very important part of our lives, but we'll never know why. And if I think if anyone was to find out, it would go horribly wrong. Well, look, I'm glad you like admin. I apologise that this bit of admin doesn't include any paperwork, coloured pens, or emails, but it has got two very important questions, and I would say that I think the second one's harder, but you take your time on these, however you want to deal with them, if that's okay.
Okay.
Um,
Yep.
so the first one, very important, is what is this?
Yeah. That's a fascinating question because
Mm,
sometimes when
mm,
I wake up in the morning, my first question is, "What is this?"
mm,
And
mm.
but then I actually found out the answer a few months ago,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and turned out it was cereal.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and not even just any cereal. It was specifically those little brown grain hoops. And
Yes.
I've been thinking about that for so long. Like in the morning, the other month I was at my uncle's wedding, and as he kissed his partner, when the officiant said you may kiss the partner, I thought, what is that? And now looking back, I can see that stuck on his face was
Oh
some of those hoops from the he hadn't wiped it
yes.
off. That's what it was. And
Wow.
sometimes when I was in my GCSE maths exam, and I remember looking down at the paper, and I saw the question, and I thought, what is that? And now
Yeah.
looking back, I remember that I hadn't recognized the mathematical sum on the piece of paper,
Mm,
but that
mm.
was definitely a piece of cereal, and I just didn't recognize
Wow.
the shape.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I suppose I should ask you. Your uncle when he got married, when they had to exchange the rings, did he just use the little cereal hoop as the
Yeah,
ring?
and
Yeah,
part of
that's
me
lovely.
but I didn't like then. I was like, that's a ring. That's the rings. That's a
Oh, of
gold or
course, but it
platinum ring.
wasn't.
No, but now I'm like, that is
It's a
cereal.
multi-grain hoop. Yeah, a multi-grain hoop.
Yeah,
And on your mathematical thing, did you use the or one of them? Did you use one of those things to work out how like it was a full circle at the
yeah. It was
time, or
180 degrees,
yeah,
but it was so
yeah.
thick, and it was also 3D. And quite often, I don't know about you, but when I look at mathematical sums, like the plus and the subtraction sign, they're flat. Whereas
Yeah. Yes,
this
true.
came off the paper and it smelled like wheat.
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it? That's going to throw
Yeah,
even the greatest mathematician. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I'm also impressed because I don't know how you feel about this. I for a long time thought they were kind of like lifesaver rings for very small creatures.
yeah, yeah. For like shipwrecks and things.
Yeah, yeah. Like a lot of
Yeah,
tiny ants fall in the sea.
yeah,
That's how they're gonna get to safety.
yeah. And I think like it depends where you're eating a bowl of cereal, right? Because if you're having a
Mm,
bowl of cereal next, like on the grass, it's quite
mm.
possible that some ants are going to get shipwrecked in that milk. But
Yes,
I
yes.
and I have had a fly in my cereal before, but it wasn't
Hmm.
shipwrecked, and it didn't need a life ring because it was just swimming and having a good time.
Wow, was it making a lot of noise at the time? Or
Um, Medium amount because it was on the table,
of
and the
course, yes, of
table's like
course.
half off the ground, isn't it?
Of course. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's interesting. I mean, I do think it's very interesting that most of the time I do think about it now, and a lot of the times I think when people say, "What is this?" it could pretty much nearly always be just multigrain hoops.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And quite
Yeah.
often when you get that when like you're flicking channels on the TV and you press next, and you're like, "What is this?" And then you look down and you haven't been pressing the remote control. You've been pressing
Yes.
bits of cereal in your
They're
hand.
just everywhere. Yeah, yeah. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. I mean, I do have to. I do have to ask. Just and if, forgive me if this is perhaps intrusive, but you said it's the first question you asked in the morning, and it was
Yeah.
cereal. And I suppose is that. Do you just sort of not bother asking what is this when you can hear your toes playing a song when you wake up? You don't sort of check what is this? Oh, this is, I don't know, California Dreaming. You've stopped doing that now.
Yeah.
Is that
My
yes?
toes have quite a I'd say I don't want to offend them because I am quite near them right now. I'm sat
Sure,
down, so I'm
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
sort of the closest I can be to
Mm.
them, with my long spine. But they have quite a limited repertoire.
Right, sure,
They
sure,
they know most of Take That, but only without Robbie. They know the
sure.
Beatles, but only the Beatles Love album. Um,
Okay,
so
interesting.
like not their wider stuff, just
Yeah,
their kind of
it's a shame.
remastered stuff. It is a shame. But they do know the whole of Wings, so that's pretty nice.
That's nice.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, and they've got their summertime classics. They've got a lot of hymns. They've got a lot
Sure,
of
sure. Okay,
hymns.
that's unusual. Yeah, unusual
Yeah,
choices there. Yeah.
so I'm nearly always. Sometimes they learn a new song. Like they learn. I don't feel like dancing with the Scissor Sisters 2 Tuesdays ago, and so I did ask, "What is this?" Um, but that was that. Yeah, I suppose that wasn't cereal then,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it could have been cereal. I have seen cereal on my toes before.
Wow, wow, and that's gosh, that's a whole different world of confusion, and yeah,
It's
yeah,
crunchy. It makes a crunchy
it,
noise.
which then adds to the rhythm of the sound. It's almost a percussive instrument. My
Yeah.
goodness, I mean, there's a lot going on in your life, and I also I have to say that as much as it would confuse me, I do wish that I would wake up every morning and immediately there'd be cereal there, and I sometimes regret that that's not what's happening in my life. But
I think you can. I think you just need to stop telling yourself that narrative, and it will change. Like you can have that. Just
wow,
start believing,
wow,
believing in the fact that you can have that.
that's inspiring. Thank you very much. Wow, hopefully, you never know. Maybe tomorrow's the first day, and maybe if I pour some cereal at the night time before I go to bed, when I wake up, I mean, it'll be
Yeah.
disgusting, but it'll be there. Yeah,
It does
that's
depend
what
on
we
you
want.
pouring the cereal the night before,
Right,
but
sure,
I
sure, yeah, yeah.
that's good admin.
Yeah, it's very good admin. Goodness, wow. Well, listen, thank you, Lorna-Rose. That was amazing. That was just the first time in question. I think the second one is harder, but again, you aced that first one. So let's see. Um, would you rather every day you had to deal with a llama drama or a manatee calamity?
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I have to admit something. When
Okay,
I was a child, which was a few months ago, because I'm very young,
right, right.
I used to think that manatees' tails were their heads. So I
Wow.
used to freak out whenever we went to the Sea Life Centre. And surprisingly, we went to the Sea Life Centre a lot for living in Birmingham, somewhere that's very landlocked. And I used to freak out whenever I saw a manatee, for somehow I'd managed to never see their heads, and I thought their tails were their heads, and it always disturbed me. And then when I got to age, I think maybe 15, too old, my
Mm,
mum
mm.
my mum asked me why I used to shudder whenever I thought of a manatee or see a manatee, and we discussed it. And she thought, okay, interesting. So I
Wow,
think,
wow.
yeah, it was heavy, heavy stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because manatees' tails are not that different to dolphin tails, or many other underwater creatures' tails, did you think that all these creatures had bums where their heads were and heads where their bums were?
No, I thought they were fine. I thought this
Right,
was just
just
the bum
manatees.
creature. And also because manatee is such a funny word, I just thought maybe that's. And also, my dad used to say, "Oh, the humanity!" Oh, the huge
Oh,
manatee.
right.
Um,
Wow.
which I think affected
Gosh.
things.
Yeah, because they're also known as sea cows. And I think that's weird because there's nothing cow-like about them. They don't look like cows.
No, and can you milk them? Do they make cheese? These are
Don't think
questions that
so.
I have.
Yeah, yeah.
I
They're
want a
good
manatee
questions.
tiramisu.
Well, I don't know if you do. If it's likely that their head is where their bum is, you worry where the tiramisu sort of content would come from and which end. Yeah, I don't think I sort of don't know if anyone wants to eat that. That's all.
No, I'd still try it. Sorry, putting my hands up, putting my hands high in
Wow,
my 7 foot
fair.
air. I'd still
Yeah,
try
that's
it.
really what you nearly knocked a plane out. Then that was very dangerous, but it was. I suppose your experience, you knew to dodge that. That's fair.
Yeah,
Um, so a manatee calamity for you would be quite a traumatic experience.
yeah. I think I'd find, I think that's what I went through when I was a child. So
Wow,
I think
you've
I'd have a
already been
llama
there. Yeah,
drama. Also, there's something nice like a llama drama. What's that over? You know, I think the worst thing happening in a llama's life is that they're getting too fluffy or hot.
yeah, yeah,
It's going to be
yeah.
something like that. I think they're pretty chill.
And then you think you'd fix it with a haircut?
What? Fix their haircut?
Would you fix it with a haircut if they were too fluffy, or would you sort of give them a trim? What would you? What's the way of
Yeah, I'd give it a
fixing that?
go.
Yeah,
I'd cut
yeah.
them a nice fringe.
That's nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's lovely.
a thick fringe.
Lovely. Yeah, that's great. That's great. I think that it is. I've always been amazed that I suppose it would take a lot longer, but you know the way people would do poodles' hair. I always feel like llamas are
Yeah,
just asking for the similar styles.
they could really work some of that stuff. Like, and they
Yeah,
because they're like wobble when they walk, don't they, as well? So they've got a
yeah.
lovely sort of catwalk they could show off. I think that would be nice to dye them as well. I think it
Yes,
would be
yeah.
good.
You mean with color, not sort of kill. You mean dye as in yeah, because that would not be nice. I've cut your hair and now like ha. You want to yeah.
Dead.
And just for the yeah, just for the listeners, you mean with color dye? I just thought it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean
Leave those llamas alone.
DYE,
Yes,
not.
yeah, because otherwise it's a proper llama drama. It's a llama murder mystery, and
Yeah,
it's yeah,
that's
and
a
the
Omama llama drama.
and a mama llama drama. That is, set it in the Bahamas, and you've got some. I think this is a show. Wow. Well, listen. Thank you, Lorna-Rose. That was brilliant. And a very, I mean, quick answer there. I thought that was a tough one, but I suppose from your manatee-based experience, you knew very quickly which one to choose. So thank you. That very very wise. Right. Well, so look, listen. We've had this sent in, and this has been sent in from Rosie, aged 99.99999.
Oh,
Yeah, so quite old, not quite 100. It could be turning 100 any second now, I
that's
suppose.
exciting. They'll get a letter
Yeah.
from me. I do that now.
Oh, you do it. You took over
Yeah,
since the Queen died.
since the Queen had her hair dyed.
Yeah,
I
yes, it's been ahead. I'm too busy showing it off.
Yeah, I took
Yeah.
over writing the letters to the 100 years old. So you're welcome, Rosie. Expect that soon.
Wow. That's nice. Do you have a special do you do each one differently, or have you got a kind of template that you just send now?
Yeah, I do them all in different scented gel pens.
That's
Um,
lovely. That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
I,
Wow.
I'm
Gosh.
my coconut one is running out though, so I might have
Oh.
to improvise with some coconut milk or something. I still want it to smell like coconut.
Hmm. Do you have any nice smelling gel? So my daughter's got some scented pens, and some of them are lovely, like cherry coconut, and then there's a whole load of horrible ones like moldy sock, onion,
Ugh.
which the onion one smells. I think the worst thing I've ever smelt in my life. I like onions, but you smell that, and it's like someone has burned a lot of onions that someone has pooed on. And then it's the horrible smell. So if you only got nice for the 100-year-olds, I suppose you don't want to give them
Yeah.
a bad smell pen.
I've got things that they would recognize from their childhood. So a hundred
Right.
years ago, it was I can do this maths. I can do this maths with my protractor. Let me just get my protractor
Yeah.
out. It
War?
was a
Was it
war,
war?
yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
that's right, yeah.
war.
Horse poo? Probably a
It was
war and horse poo, wasn't it?
war horse. I've got a war pen. I've got a horse poo pen. I've got a butter pen. I've
Oh, yeah.
got an asbestos pen. I've got a brick dust pen. I've got a that so plastic didn't exist then. So there's a glass pen. Um,
Wow.
there's what are we talking? We're talking 1924. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, no,
Yeah.
no, the war. That was in between the war
Oh,
pens.
was it between the war pens, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah, you're
peacetime
right.
pen. Yeah, I've got one that smells like
Peacetime pen.
peas,
That's
which smells.
nice.
It smells like peas, really.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, that's, yeah, good and bad. I'd like that, but I can see that being problematic. Wow, well, it's nice to know that you're the person, and it's something I probably should explain to you before. Actually, on this podcast, Radons, we do have a rule that is suitable for all ages up to one, so all ages except for 100. So you can be 99 or
Oh,
101 and listen. But if you're
yeah,
100, because you get all the special treatment and letters from yourself, I sort of feel like you can't have this podcast as well. Like, it's a bit of balance.
yeah,
It's fair. Yeah. So
exactly.
Rosie's
Well,
very close to not being able to listen to this episode.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
What happens if they like? What would you do if you caught Rosie listening to it after her 100th birthday?
Prison.
Oh,
I think I think so. I think it's at a prison, possibly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some sort of community service. I think she'd have
oh,
to probably go around, like picking up poo and putting it in the bin. Or she'd have to do something like,
yeah,
so yeah, one of those sort of things.
that's what she
After drawing
deserves.
all the lines round the pavements everywhere or whatever it is. I don't know
Oh
who does that,
yeah,
but she'd have to do that. Yeah, yeah.
putting
So
the someone needs to putting the holes in polo mints. That's a
yes,
good community
well,
service job.
and in the little cereal rings, who's doing that?
Yes.
That's could be Rosie in a few weeks' time, or now, who knows? We'll find out. Well, listen, Rosie is a very good question. She has said, "Hey, Tiernan," so that's me. Hello. My dad and I love the podcast. Her dad must be really old. She's no sleeper.
Yeah.
No,
Well, he's
he
going to be
must be
picking up
like,
poo.
he's really going to be picking. Well, he's all right if he's 101 or over. It's only 100-year-olds, so he could well be. He could listen to this. It's just Rosie. It's
Ah,
very.
okay.
You got to have rules. You got to have a system.
Yeah.
So my dad and I essentially, I love in capitals. My dad and I love the podcast. So, and then she's asked the problems with cheese. Discuss, and I should just say, she spelled discuss like the Olympic discus frisbee. So unless she means the problem with cheese, discus,
Discus.
or she might mean
Yeah.
discuss. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think probably she means discuss, but we can very, very briefly cover the problems with cheese discus because I was
So-
actually wrapped up in the 2008 cheese discus situation that occurred
Mhm.
in Coventry, and I lost some of my best clothes to that event. And
Yes,
since
yes.
that event, that's actually why it is illegal to play cheese discus in the UK. Still
Yeah.
legal in Norway and Germany, and but I just avoid those countries in case
Hey.
I witness it again.
It makes sense. I mean, I fully appreciate. It's only in cold countries. Any country where the cheese can get too melty, that
Yep.
is a big problem. And I
And
think it was very sensible
yeah,
for them to ban that. Yeah.
that's why July 2008 was particularly hot in the UK.
Yes, it was. You mean it was hot because of the discus, or it was hot and then the discus was bad? Did the discus cause such major weather changes?
Yeah. When dairy moves at a high velocity,
Right. Yeah.
the chemical reaction causes things to get hot. That's why
Wow.
I think maybe manatees would make good cheese because
Yeah.
they're moving quite slowly, and that's why cows move so slowly, is to keep it cool.
point.
They're like that's why a fridge does not move at all. Really still,
Yeah, that's
really
true. Isn't it?
cold.
And that's why you don't get milk or cheese from cheaters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
That would be
exactly it.
vile.
Yeah, it would be horrible, and you can't catch them as well. It's part of the problem. Well, so I mean, I would say that the cheese discus is one of the problems with cheese.
Yeah.
But what are there other problems? You got any major problems that you have an issue with cheese?
Yeah, my frustration is that cheese is alive, and some of your listeners might know that because it's one of my favorite facts, that if you put cheese underneath a microscope, you see it move.
Wow.
Um, it's very interesting, and I encourage everyone to give it a go. It's something my dad showed me when I was younger. And what frustrates me about this situation is it moves, but it doesn't take risks, right? It doesn't it acts, it moves, it moves around, but it doesn't move to the Caribbean. It doesn't move, it doesn't start a podcast. It doesn't sing. It rarely talks to you, and when it does, it's always, oh, I love being in this packet of cheddar, or this petri dish is
Yeah.
nice. It's always like, it doesn't dream bigger than it is. It's very
But
safe as cheese.
but do you think that's because it's a victim of its own success? I mean, cheese has always done pretty well. It's pretty well everywhere in the supermarkets has a whole aisle just
Yeah,
to itself.
that's so
There are
true,
whole
actually.
like in France they've got more cheeses than people or liquid, and the cheese is doing. I mean, and you try and think of when was the last cheese innovation? Probably cheese strings. Really,
Yeah,
they went, oh, maybe we can tie shoes laces together or tie shoes together, but that's about all we're going to bother. And you
that
know,
is probably the most recent famous cheese. I think you're
mm,
right. I think cheese is child star syndrome.
yeah,
Cheeses have peaked. Cheese has peaked, and now it's resting on its
Jesus Pete.
laurels. The Baby
Wow.
Bell.
Mm,
What else? There's also those little dairy leaves, triangles.
yeah,
Legendary.
absolutely
You're right.
legendary. Yeah. Why would you need to change? How would you modernize a dairy triangle? What are you going to do with that to make it any better? It's already the best it can be, right?
I think you could probably, but listen, I'm not cheese, and
Sure,
anything
sure.
authentic has to come from the cheese. But I reckon if I was a dairy leaf triangle,
Hmm.
I'd be on TikTok. I'd be filling myself full of glitter. I'd be
Mm.
I'd be yeah, I'd be making reels. What else do Gen Z do? I'd be I'd be rapping. Yeah, I'd rap.
Wow.
Why isn't any of this cheese rapping? They're
Well, is that
always,
because some of it is wrapped already, and therefore it has a problem wrapping itself?
yeah, because it's been wrapped by someone else. That's
Mm.
interesting. Self-wrap. I want to see cheese fail. You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Because then I know it's
Yeah.
risking.
Yeah. And then once it fails, it'd have to build itself back up again, and maybe we'd get some really, really
Yeah,
interesting cheese.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would like to see a sort of like Taylor Swift's Eras tour, but with cheese. I'd like to see cheese really go all out, do a
Yeah,
global big arena tour, lots of dancers made of cheese. I
yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
lights would be an issue, obviously.
Melt in
Melt.
it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it wouldn't be able to
yeah,
dance very fast, otherwise it would melt.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's part of the issue as well. It's gonna melt.
Overly
It's gonna
cautious.
be.
You're scared.
Yeah,
We're all scared though,
yeah.
aren't we?
We are all scared. We're all scared all the time, especially of manatees
And their poopy
uh,
heads.
and their poopy heads. So yeah, it's big. Maybe we need to be more brave so that cheese can be brave too.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I mean, who thought that this is where Rosie, very nearly 100, was talking about? She obviously knew there was something quite deep and meaningful about cheese.
Yeah. Well, she's lived that long, right? She's seen cheese
Hmm.
really. She's seen all of the cheeses get wrapped, and I think she's probably
Yes.
thinking, what next? You know.
Yeah, you could say she's very mature. Yeah,
Um,
that's what I would say. That's what I did say. Yeah.
that was very good.
Oh, lovely, lovely. We need to stop the cheese buns here because I can't bear it. Um, well, that was very. I feel like we're making light jokes here about cheese, but actually it was a very deep and meaningful comment. I sort of
Yeah.
Next time I see sort of like a cheese with holes in, I'll think maybe it's just not brave enough to fill those holes, and with more
and
cheese, maybe it's
if it tried, what would it fill it with? Could it be
exactly.
glitter?
It could be glitter. We can only hope that there's a beautiful future for cheese, and maybe that day will come. Maybe after this podcast goes out and is eaten and pooed out and is reabsorbed back into the earth, that cheese will reimagine its own existence, and that could be lovely. So. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, Rosie, that's enough of a discussion for you. Thank you so much, Lorna. I realise we got Lorna-Rose, and she's a Rosie. You're not remotely. You don't know each other, do you? It's not like a Rosie.
Yeah. Well, all Rosies are related.
Right, that's what I did wonder. Yeah, I did wonder.
Yeah. So she's my second niece.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I just sort of thought there's an obvious connection there. Well, Lorna-Rose, thank you so much for having the time to talk to us today. Thank you so much for answering Rosie's. It wasn't really a question, but let's not go into that. I appreciate you discussing the discus and the discussion. And what about you? Are you up to much in the next, 40, 50,000 years?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get loud, by which I mean go up into space, and I think I'm gonna probably do some sort of space orbing. I'm interested in doing. She's got loud behind me. Can you hear that?
Yeah, is that your toes, or is that?
Yeah, that's actually my what's that one called? The second one, the incisor toe.
Oh yeah. Is that what they're doing?
That's my incisor toes. Venturing into some pop.
Nice.
Yeah. They've been asleep for the past, thankfully, for the past past time of the podcast, but they're waking back up, and now we're saying goodbye.
Wow.
They're looking forward to going into space as well and doing some space orbing. Gonna circle some planets, I think.
Sounds amazing. Well, I hope the screaming isn't too bad for you, and I hope you have a lovely time up there in space. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We did a challenge to think outside the bread.
Huge thanks to Lorna-Rose Treen for taking a break from listening to her musical toes to answer Rosie's very, very important question, or statement, or talking point. I'm not really sure. Rosie, I do hope you liked our discussion about cheese. If not, please do send any complaints you have in cheese via a very hot country, so it all melts and I'll never have to read it. Thanks. If you have a question that you need answering, or you want to send in anything else at all, please get permission from your grown-ups to send me an email at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk, or you can leave a Spotify Q&A message too. Go and check out Comedy Club for Kids at the Edinburgh Fringe at the Assembly Gardens every day at 4:25 in the afternoon, or see us at Camp Festival, Carfest, or many, many, many more shows all over the summer. Check out comedyclub4kids.co.uk to see the full list. Oh yeah, and 12,762, 12,763, red, green, 89, caterpillar, big bag of whatsits, and stop. No! The spoon is still exactly the same. I thought Susan Police knew everything. I'm so disappointed in my favourite influencer. Oh, wait, I hadn't noticed. There's actually a bit more on this video. Let me just play.
Oi, that didn't work, did it? No one watches this bit unless it didn't work. Well, I'm sorry, yeah, but then the reason it didn't work is because you're such a stupid head, and you just have to turn the spoon the other way round, stupid head. It wasn't broken, you just did it all wrong.
Oh, is that it? Oh, I just had the spoon the wrong way round. Let me just try. Oh, yeah! Thanks, Susan Police. This spoon works perfectly well now. Yum! Time for some tasty cold custard. Crunch? Crunch? Custard doesn't go crunch. Ugh! Susan Police, I need your help again. Bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.